Nicks and Bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. I got my guys in the building. Sim, DJ Shuttle. What's good, fellas?
Chilling, man. Disappointed at last night's loss.
Yeah,
You
I,
know,
I know we talked about it a little bit. I'll let Shuttle get his thoughts on the game last night, and then we'll break some other things down. I think there was a lot to unpack.
Yeah, Minnesota was off to a slow start this season, but I think the way they're playing right now is who they really are. Dante's getting his groove now, second year with the team. A little bit more for Julius as well, and it looks like when Edwards wants to really, really play, he really
yeah,
plays. Um, I was definitely happy to see the Knicks do something different. Rest a couple of guys. For me, I think it's always a great way to get a barometer of where your team is and where your players are when you have a game like that without Brunson. See how much Cat steps up. A game without Brunson and no Deuce. See how much Kolek can really handle. Because it's a whole different thing. And shout to Steph. She used to always say this is one thing when you come off the bench and you get your minutes against bench players and you're getting quote unquote bench minutes. But it's a
right.
whole different thing when a whole lot more is demanded and needed and required of you as a starter to play 30 plus minutes, especially over a length of time. So it was good to get a barometer because there's been a lot of talk about Kolek, including yours truly, about what more he could do and how expendable other players might be. So seeing him get extended minutes, I thought was good. Win or loss, just to kind of get a barometer on where he's at.
True facts. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to JJ. Happy holidays, everyone. Um, for sure. Um, Sim, I mean, to Shuttle's point, and shout out to the Queen. I was just listening on her show, and I was in the chat saying, Brunson I mean, pardon me, Kolek just started getting consistent minutes, right? He's on a stretch of getting these consistent minutes, and he's been stepping up to the plate, right? Then you got the cup games where now you got some added pressure, some added emphasis, some eyes on him, stepped up to the plate, and I would argue like the brightest stage of his career, right? In those games,
Right.
then you back those up with career night after career night after career night. Finally, get the start. You know what I mean? Not only are you used to the increased minutes, but you get an even bigger role. To Shuttle's point, even more minutes, starting minutes. So Kolek has really been like one of the highlights of the past month for me. Um, I want to kind of
That's
talk
not a doubt.
about and how much does it change? And Shutter, I'm sure you're gonna have a lot to say, considering he changed your opinion. How much does his ascension change from what we needed, where we were in the beginning of the season, and where he is, what we could expect maybe moving forward?
I think it changes a lot. Because if he can continue to play the way he's playing, be a distributor, right? Because I think that's something we came into the season during the off season. We wanted a contributor. I mean, not a contributor, a distributor. To play alongside Brunson. If he can continue doing what he's doing, and he's also showing that he can create a little bit. Last night he showed he. I, I told you last night there was a point in time where I didn't even want anybody else to try to create a shot, just him, right? Because Bridges wasn't creating a shot. Josh Hart was turning the ball over every time. You know what I'm saying? And Cat, for a period of time, just went aloof. You know what I'm saying? For a good 3 to 4 minutes in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? And when Cat wasn't in the game, Tyler Kolek was our best option to create a shot and to create offense. You know what I mean? So like his confidence is growing, and so if he can become a little better defensively, we heard Mike Brown talk about that last night. He can become a little better defensively. He's already naturally wired to distribute the basketball, and then he becomes a threat. He could be a nice piece. I'm not saying he's going to start there, but a nice piece to play alongside Brunson in stretches so that you can have Brunson just really truly play off the ball and let Kolek be the creator for everybody else on the floor. You know,
Wh- I was super high on him coming into the summer league, and his performance in the summer league was so disappointing that you know what I mean. Like I started bashing him as well coming into the season. Like these young guys ain't ready. Da 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 da. So he's definitely even changed my opinion back and forth from my high expectations to that input he did with the summer league. But two things that I did come out of summer league saying is when he's around better and higher performing players, his skill set will shine a lot more. I think that has come to fruition, and also the fact that he's such a facilitator, and that would probably be his best skill set. I also said he needs to be more aggressive offensively and make himself an offensive threat to open up the facilitating. Because if you look over the years with some of the guards throughout the NBA who were good facilitators but weren't good shooters or weren't wasn't aggressive, they never really got to shine or pan out because everybody knows what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? So his aggression has been another shining point for me. But Shutter, what's your thoughts?
Mike Brown called that timeout when he got caught up with Gobert on that pick and roll to educate him on how, like, listen, the announcers talked about it. This is Gobert. Like, you got to figure out how to get around him, getting yourself caught up in the tussle with him and thinking you're gonna get a foul. You might call it. You just, Tyler Kohler, you just got hit. Like, you're not gonna get that call. You got to relax.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So shout to the coach on a teachable moment. That's definitely my style. Like, we ain't gonna wait till later. We don't call timeout right now. We're gonna talk about it. And he told him. And so I think he does have to tighten up on defense. But to your point, he's absolutely the type of player that his skill set is so good that he can't really play with players that don't have good skill set because they can't do anything with what he can do. So I kind of took the summer league with a grain of salt. And going into this season, prior to Brogdon deciding to retire, we were all saying how much the team needed a backup point guard that could handle the ball, facilitate, et cetera, and be somebody that could give Brunson a break. We're 30 games into the season, and we know what we already knew, that Deuce is not that guy. So, as I already said several games ago, his cut performance could have made Deuce expendable in a trade to get another position of weakness, which is a backup wing, because you don't want Bridges and OG having to play so many minutes, because according to the minutes police, they got to get breaks. So, you got to get a wing that can help out there, because to me right now the surplus is shooting guard. It's Deuce, it's Shamit, and it's Clarkson. And if I got to pick one of those three going to win a championship this season, I'm taking Clarkson as my shooting guard off the bench, which for me makes Deuce expendable if Kolek can continue to play the way he's playing. So, don't even get me started on that. I'm gonna hold off for a minute before I even go there. So, Kolek, I'm impressed, and I don't see any reason to think why he wouldn't continue to be able to flourish in a backup role, and as Sim said, playing some minutes alongside Brunson.
yeah,
Um, oh man, I lost my train of thought. I had one more point about Kolek. Um, Number one, the kid is tough. Oh, it's back to your point of Mike Brown. Giving him that learning. Pulling him out, giving him a little lesson. And Sim, you mentioned, or one of you mentioned, him kind of mentioning his defense as an area of he needs to improve on. But
yeah. There's some
I
work to
think we
do.
all would agree that Kolek has probably been way better defensively than we may have anticipated. Um, I think the effort is there. he's learning how to get to spots to not be such of a liability. So he's playing with IQ. Not, he's obviously not going to be a lockdown defender, and that's not going to be his greatest, uh, attribute. But I think the effort has been so good. So for Brown to actually still kind of pick and poke at it, I like that as well. You know what I mean? Like don't relax.
Yeah,
Keep trying to get better. You know what I mean? Keep
I think,
trying to learn and
yeah.
and, and improve in that area.
I think one of the differences when you talk about defenders, um, like you have someone who can be there, right? Like you might not get past that person easily. You know, they're going to be there. But when it comes time to get the shot off, you can still get that shot off and get it up, right? Because they're there, but they're not really putting pressure on you. Then you have defenders that put pressure on you, right? Where it's hard for you to get to your spot. It's hard for you to get that shot off because they're putting pressure on you. And I think that's the difference between with Tyler Kolek and maybe someone like Deuce or Bridges. Or, well, I don't know. I'm not sure about Bridges. OG or something, right?
McCullough actually low key last
Okay,
night.
color. Like you have some guys who can defend you to the point where it's hard for you to get to the spot that you want to get that shot off.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then when it does come time to get to the shot off, their hand is just not up. You know what I'm saying? Like you're struggling. You might have to fade away. You might have to take that shot in an uncomfortable manner. I think Kolek right now, he, he can stay with the guy, but there's not really pressure on the guy. You know what I'm saying? So when we're watching from afar, we see him and he's there. It's like, well, he's there. He put
Hmm.
his hand up, but it's not the kind of pressure that makes the guy feel uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Feel like, am I going to be able to get the shot off? Maybe I need to pass it off. You know what I'm saying? And so I think there's a difference there. I don't know if he's ever going to be that kind of defender.
I agree. He won't. He's physically can't be. But I mentioned it yesterday on your show. One of the good things I see is um the team helping him strategically, helping him in those moments. And that might be what they're telling him. Just stay in front of your guy. You know what I mean? We'll
Right.
come help you up. We'll back you up. You know what I mean? And it's not like that's, again, we got Brunson on the team, so the collectively the team is somewhat used to already having to do those type of things
Yeah.
anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I think that also benefits him in a sense, right? It's like a lot of people, announcers, I hear them calling him, baby Brunson, or I see a little Brunson in him, but a lot of their skill sets are equivalent. You know what I mean? So he can learn a lot just being there, watching him, and kind of modeling even defensively his game in certain aspects
Yeah.
um from Brunson.
Well,
So
listen, as long as if he's in front of the guy, but the guy's not always blowing by him, you know what I mean? I think that is kind of like, all right, well, we're not going to really demand a whole lot
Right.
much more than that. And as long as you're not, giving the Matador D, you know what I mean? You ain't playing Matador defense, then we could probably work with it.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Figure it out. And that's definitely the key. I mean, if a guy's just blowing past you every time, then you can't, we can't have you on the floor because that's really putting a strain on the team. But if you're staying in front and you're still making him at least, he might get to a spot, but you're still making him shoot a mid range jump shot or whatever it is. You're lowering the percentages of those shots. It's still, you know, it's not necessarily a liability on the team. When a guy's blowing past you, though, that's when you really become a liability because now everybody else got to really draw in. So
Also, his high IQ defensive plays. He made that one that really stood out against Wemby in the championship in the
mm,
cup
mm,
championship. So if he's able to make smart IQ plays like that, pick up a guy, get back on the break, and pick and get the guy that's running ahead and hustle back. Those type of little plays make huge difference in games. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, is he going to be the lockdown defender? I don't think we expect it, but if he can make plays that it's like, wow, okay, he's hustling, he's smart out there, then I think we can work with that.
yeah,
yeah, credit to you for calling pointing out that play because I remembered it in real time watching it in real time. And when you was talking about it, that's the first thing I said, like where he cut him. You know what I mean? He had that open lane to the basket. Kolek ran and just got behind him. You know what I mean? Slowed him down for a
Put his
second.
just put his
You know
hands
what I
up. It just stopped the whole momentum.
Because
Like,
I was looking like, oh man, he about to catch a oop or something. You know what I mean?
and that would have
And
been a huge
that
momentum
little
shift.
second that he slowed him down, you know what I mean? OG was able to come back down. The defense was able to collect themselves. So again, little things like that, maybe missed throughout the game. You know what I mean? Because it's not a defensive stop. It's not a on ball thing. You know what I mean? But it's an IQ play that saved them from 2 points.
Many people
Definitive.
will miss plays like that, and it won't show up in the stat sheet. And if they didn't catch it, like, because it was a play that wasn't really the play. They showed that on camera on a replay. I mean, well, you could see it, but it wasn't the focus of where the camera was on. It was kind of like like a peripheral vision if you were watching it. And but they doubled back and they showed it. And just a smart play, man. Like, those are the type of plays that make me feel like, all right, that's a guy I want on my team.
Smart. Yeah, he's smart. No doubt about it. He's smart.
Those are plays that guys that are no longer here couldn't do, and those are reasons that the team would be frustrated. And I'm not going to call out no names.
We still got a couple guys that
I want to get back to your Deuce over Deuce and Clarkston comment, but I must save that because I want to ask him two more things before he go. Number one, the comment up there, JJ talking about Bridges has to do more last night. Unacceptable. I think that's been a huge sentiment amongst a lot of Knicks fans, and I felt like maybe he could have took a couple more shots, but I think he had 16. I think that was a acceptable amount of attempts at the very least. I seen him. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well. You know what I mean? So that's always a deciding factor.
7 for 16.
It's decent.
Well, he didn't shoot the three.
48%. Yeah, from three.
Yeah. Pardon me. I keep referencing that. But you know what I mean? I love the way he mixed it up. And you know what I mean? Other than the play you called out with him, playing soft, not trying to avoid the contact, but those type of hoops that he missed in that instance, he gets like 2 of those a game. You know what I mean? Like cutting to the rim, reverse layup, type of shot. So yeah, he missed that one. It was heavily contested. You know what I mean? But I like the way he mixed it up in the post, posting up, and it felt like early in the game. Maybe this got Ant going, but it felt like they was kind of having a little back and forth, competitive. You know what I mean? Spotlight or whatever. So he didn't live up to the challenge against Ant, but I wouldn't kill him for last night's performance per se. You know what I mean?
I think the thing is, Bridges has been steady all season.
Mm-hmm.
Steady and stable. And last night, he was steady.
Mm-hmm. And he didn't elevate. He didn't rise.
Right. You needed a spike. You needed more than steady last night. You know what I'm saying? Because we had guys out, needed more than steady. I think the thing with Bridges, right, most of his shots come from somebody else's creation. Right?
Or his cutting, but yes, they gotta find them. But yeah,
they gotta find them, right? It comes, it's in connection with somebody else. Most of his shots, and in a situation like last night, I think you needed someone to be able to create their shot. You know what I'm saying? Because when you play against a tough defensive team, people always say, "Oh, you got to stick to the cutting." Sometimes it's when you're playing against a really good defensive team. They're grabbing, they're holding. All 5 players are. You know what I'm saying? So you're not getting clean cuts to the basket. So those looks ain't gonna be there, right? And like
you're not getting all those calls either.
Yeah,
and Gobert is down there as well. So it's not like, you know what I mean? Like his mindset is always gonna be protect the rim. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He barely goes out in along
Right.
the 3-point line. You know what I mean? Like he's so yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
You know, there was, I don't remember what play it was, but there was a play last night that was pretty much a microcosm. And I thought about it and I was like, and this is what made this play is what made me say, just give Kolek the ball because he just looks like the only one that can create. Um, Shot clock was it was getting low and the ball went to Hart and then it got handed off to Bridges and Bridges is trying to create a shot. He couldn't go anywhere. He's going east and west. He's not going north and south to get to the basket. Right. He ends up trying to hand it off again. And I think we turned the ball over. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, just get a, and in my brain, I was like, Kolek is the only one that's figuring out a way to get north and south to the basket. Even if it's a little fadeaway midi, at least he's getting in there. You know what I'm saying? Bridges can't even get to the cup. Josh Hart's turning the ball over every time. You know what I mean? Um, and I think that's one of the issues with Bridges. He's not creating off the dribble that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He's not going to catch the ball at the elbow and jab step a couple of times, boop, boop, and shot. You know, he's not going to do that. Most of his shots come off of somebody else getting him the ball. You know, and he's efficient in that manner, but in situations like last night, you needed him to be able to create a little bit, create his own shot a little bit.
Yeah, he's really fallen in love with that curl three as well.
Yeah.
That's been like high value as of late.
Right.
Um,
But you know, again, that takes somebody to give them the ball. And if these defenses are tough and they're trapping and they're doing things, you might not be able to find them all for that.
and,
You know,
and I will agree with you. He should have had JJ. He says 16 shot attempts was not nearly enough with two cogs out. And
Kolek had 20.
and that's what I was that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Mhm.
When Kolek, that goes to your point of being able to create, because a lot of people was, you know, upset with his shot attempts. And I think he took good shots. I think his extended run, his extended minutes, his legs wasn't under him for a lot of the chippies, you know what I mean, that he missed in that first half.
Mm-hmm.
But the second half, I think he got his second win. He was steady that whole second half. You know what I mean? So, but the shots he took were good. They may have just grazed the rim, or I think he shot an air ball. You know what I mean? But the shot itself was a good shot.
Right.
You know what I mean? He just didn't have his legs under him. And so I agree with you to have Kolek come in and really try to fill in that Brunson role in a sense, and not be McCall. You know what I mean? And
It also goes to
that is
mindset, though. It also goes to mindset. You know, like, Kolek, it seemed like at a point he was like, okay, nobody else, I might as well try to get it and do it myself. Nobody else is really doing it. You know what I mean? And Bridges is okay with just, all right, well, find me in the corner or find me on the curl. He's cool with that. No matter who's out there, just find me here. I'll get a shot off. You know what I'm saying? Instead of taking that extra responsibility, it goes to mindset. But Kolek is like, all right, well, I'm one of the leaders out here. I gotta hoop.
um
Yeah.
Shutter, what's your thoughts on the McCall
That's my
thing? And
problem
then
with Cat's mindset. But go ahead.
if you got the time, I'll have one more for you, Sin, before you
Yeah.
before you gotta get out of here. But what's your thoughts on the McCall thing, the McCall situation?
McCall had some moments with the team on the other side in New York. And I guess what I saw, I just had a different expectation coming here. Like, I saw him more assertive. I saw him getting his shots more on his own. Maybe I need to go back and watch some footage. I don't know. But I've just conceded that this guy is who he is. You
Me too.
know, I've just conceded it. Like, he's going to do everything that you guys just talked about, right? So just fast forwarding and also backtracking, this is what leads me to my point about Kolek's value long term being more of an asset to the team than what Deuce does, because Clarkson and Deuce, I don't want to say interchangeable because Deuce is definitely a better defender, but the shooting that Deuce provides is the shooter you can get from Clarkson. So
I don't
Mhm.
know. I
I
don't
think
know.
I think
Oh,
I think Deuce is more consistent. You know what I mean?
but I think
Clarkson may be able to.
the ball handling that is needed from Kolek
Okay,
is so high of a need that the shooting difference is not so
the
great
the,
that it's
the
like,
difference
oh, we
is
have to have Deuce.
the,
And
the
yo,
difference. The difference though, that it's not the shooting. The shooting is what kind of levels things out. But
right?
the Deuce's asset is his defense. Whether he's shooting well or not, his impact on the game defensively, that's his biggest attribute. So I think you can't you got to factor that in when you're talking about this guy over this guy or this, you know what I mean? Like,
I think
I don't
if
want to totally dismiss it, but to me, everything y'all just said about the ball handling is, to me, that is the biggest concern for me on the team, is that there's nobody that can create their own shot other than Brunson. Not OG, not Bridges, not Mitch, not Clarkson off the bench can create a little bit, but he's not the
yeah,
point guard. But he's not the point guard, and he's even a lesser degree. So I need somebody that can handle the rock, man. Like, this is the NBA. You got to be able to get past your man and make shots for your team. And nobody else can do that other than Brunson.
I don't know. I think Deuce has been doing it a little bit this year.
Sam, what have you been watching, bro?
He's been. I mean, you haven't seen him put on the Jets and go to the basket. He's not shifty like Brunson, but I
and
think
he's not creating for others.
he's not creating for others. He's not.
I will say that, but he can get his shot. You know what I mean? Like, and he's not a shot creator in that sense, but he's steadily improved. You know what I mean? He's
You know,
steadily improved at getting his own
his
shot.
pull up has been there.
Get to my spot,
You
pull
know,
up, yeah, like that.
you know, he's not a creator like Brunson or Tyler Kolek, a creator for others.
Honestly, you would think at his size, the way he gets to his shot and pulls up, it's even more consistent than Bridges. To be honest, Bridges doesn't shoot from the same areas as Deuce, but as far as the consistency in the pull up, like getting to my shot, just rise and shoot, Deuce kind of has mastered that.
Does the team need a wing? Does the
and he-
team need another wing player, though?
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
Okay, so if the team needs a wing player and you have a guy that can give you ball handling, some shooting like Coley can, you have a shooting guard that can do the minutes with Clarkson, you have Shamit also still in the wing. Like if you have to give up something to get something, is Deuce that valuable that you're gonna say, yo, I just can't do it?
I mean, now we got to talk trade specific, but I'm gonna get back to that when you shut up, Sim. Before you go, we talked about the third All-Star, OG Bridges. You know what I mean? We kind of penciled them in as the two guys fighting for it or potentially getting it, and we totally disregarded Josh Hart. And I think Josh Hart has a level of respect throughout the league, and obviously he wouldn't start, so it's not based on popularity, but
right.
skill set, impact. You talk about him in the starting lineup and our record, and that changing, and so the impact of that. And I just wanted to talk about it. Like, we didn't even consider Josh Hart,
We consider it. You know,
and I think there's a fair argument for him just as much as Mikal or OG.
there's a fair argument for him. I think his maybe his points per game might not be high enough.
Was he
You
at
know,
14?
he's at 12.
Okay.
12 points, 8 boards, and
5 assists.
5 assists. Yep.
And I
He
think
is
it was 14 before last night. Maybe I'm wrong, but that would be a big drop to 2 points.
shooting 38.9% from the 3-point line this year.
49.6 overall from the field, 82 from the line,
And
and 1.5 steals a game.
Yeah.
yes. And again, you talk about the impact, of him coming into the starting lineup, and obviously that changed things for the better. So I just wanted to throw that out there for you, Sim. If you gotta go, fair. Appreciate you jumping in.
Yeah, yeah. I got my people jumping in right now. So, all right,
Sim,
all right, peace,
appreciate you.
peace.
Um,
Josh Hart for All-Star, huh? That's the campaign.
I mean, I just thought about it like, man, we was dead set, like, oh man, who's it gonna be, Bridges or OG? Like, who has the better shot? McCall's been consistent. OG, his defensive impact is undeniable, and we just didn't even mention Josh Hart in the conversation. And I just thought, you know, just to be fair, like his numbers are decent enough to where if we excel to the first seed, he may be the guy that gets recognized more than Mikal or more than
I I can't I
OG.
can't say where I saw it, but somewhere maybe 2 3 days ago there was a Josh Hart All-Star argument that his numbers compare very favorably to Draymond Green when he's been an All-Star.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, well, that's definitely a great comparable. And to your point, if the team keeps excelling, I mean, at least playing where the team's at least a 2 seed, maybe a 1 seed. I mean, I could definitely hear conversations about it. And, I mean, it's tough, man. You got Towns, who I think would be a bona fide shoe in to be an all-star, along with Brunson. I mean, very rarely do you get four players on the team, and I think McCall's been steady enough that you probably would give it to him over Hart if you're a coach. But Hart plays the way coaches
Mm-hmm.
would love a guy to play that's on their
That,
team.
that's the guy they talk about in a post game press conference. You know what I mean? That's the guy they single out on how he impacts the game, and it's not necessarily stat related. But to your point, and where you've seen that, like his stats are comparable to other all stars who've had impact on the game. You know what I mean? So I just thought, you know what I mean? I'm voting. I'm voting all Knicks anyway. You know what I mean? Every day, as we all should. You know what I mean? But I just needed to throw that out there because I thought it was we overlooked it, and as much as he'll have a game like last night with 6 turnovers and kind of be off the wall and out of control.
See
His
that's
impact is there
but last night
night
was
in
the
and night out. His efforts there night in and night out.
no Jalen Brunson though makes it the anomaly where he has to handle the ball
Mhm.
because there's nobody that can handle the ball. And why I'm not gonna go there.
I,
So
I brought it up yesterday on Sim Show with the Draymond Green analogy. So I must have seen whatever you saw as well with that comparison. But it made me think of how they say Draymond don't like playing without Steph. And I was just like, maybe Hart doesn't play as well without Brunson. You know what I mean? Like, because his what is asked for him is a little bit beyond what he could give you on a night in and nightly basis.
listen, if you had somebody else that could create their own shot that would step up when Brunson was out, then he wouldn't feel the need to, because he's a guy that's going to do too much versus doing too little.
Correct.
Because I mean, his turnovers are really more
Based
created
off of
out of
effort, based off
effort.
of
Yeah, and
agreed.
trying versus doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Or missed calls. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or a missed call that leads to a turnover. But
no, that was a terrible call.
yeah.
But he still had 15 boards and 8 assists on a night where you want to condemn him for 6 turnovers. So, I mean, his overall impact on the game, you still have to respect it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like 5 assists per, you know what I mean, per game this year. That's huge. You know what I mean? Coming from a non-creator, right? A not a playmaker. Like he's average. He's in that department higher than OG and Bridges, who we would expect to be more of the playmakers, and you know what I mean, potential wise, or you
Not
know,
me,
but
because they can't
it's.
dribble. They can't dribble.
I
They
mean,
can't dribble.
Josh Hart is not the greatest ball handler either. I
Not
mean,
in half,
somehow he protects it most of the time, but you know what I mean.
not in the half
It,
court, but he can. But he can. He excels at his handle going coast to coast.
correct.
And Bridges and OG can't do that either. Like I don't trust them going getting the rebound and going coast to coast.
I've seen OG do it a little bit more. Um,
Yeah,
like especially like this year,
it's very much a
and
work in
especially
progress.
like coming off the, you know what I mean, like coming off that big steal. He usually gets that half court steal, and can do the coast to coast from there. From a rebound coast to coast, I agree. You know what I mean. I don't really want to see that. Um,
He trips, he falls, he fumbles it, he ends up pump faking, and it's like it's just like wow, like really?
let's get back to this
Yeah.
Clarkston Deuce thing. I see it got the chat on fire, so I'm gonna just throw it. I'm gonna let you talk back to them. You know what I mean. I'll chime in as I see fit, but you know what I mean. I'm gonna go backwards. So shout out to Wayne Peterson. He says, "I see the argument of Deuce versus Kolek, but it's obvious that this is point guard versus shooting guard argument. Why can't they coexist off the bench together?" To be honest, that was my argument to you the first time you kind of brought it up as far as Kolek and Deuce. They actually complement each other. You know what I mean? Especially in that second unit. Um, which brings me to the point that I think it would be more of a Shamit and Clarkston argument more than anything else. Especially given where we are right now, Kolek's ascension and what he brings, arguably, not even arguably, I don't think anyone else brings what Kolek brings to the table, right, on this team, other than the Brunson, right? So that's number one. So that gives Kolek his spot. I think Deuce, as far as two way, nobody else on that second unit gives you the two way ability that a Deuce does, where he's excels defensively and can affect the game whether he's shooting well or not, but can shoot the ball well as well. You know what I mean? So
One
now
could
you talk
one
about
could argue Shamit was playing that way this season.
yes, but not to the extent and not to the level defensively of Deuce. You know what I mean? And he did come off, shooting the ball well coming into the year for sure. You know what I mean? But I think the bigger argument would be Clarkston and Shamit. Shamit's going to be coming back from an injury. We seen how long it took him to kind of find his way coming back from the same injury last year. So I don't expect him to come back and just be shooting the ball lights out like he came into the year. So I think that's going to slow things down for him long term. I don't know if he could affect the game defensively the way Deuce does and not shoot the ball well. And I don't think he can do that the way Deuce can. You know what I'm saying? So now it comes down to the shooting aspect, and now it's like, all right, Clarkson, he's been steadily improving throughout the year. I'll give him that. He does give a level of ball handling and self creating that Shamit nor Deuce provides. You know what I mean? It's really about his defensive struggles. I think that's somewhere that he might be he might be lower on the totem pole than even Kolek. I think defensively this year, from what I've seen. So it comes down to that, and does he continue to keep getting better shooting the ball? Like he's on a tear right now shooting the ball. Um, didn't start the season off shooting the ball well. So is he going to be streaky or is he going to be consistent? And I think that's what it's going to be with Shamit coming back. Is he going to be streaky coming back, or is he going to be consistent coming back? And that's why I think the argument should be between those two. Um, Man, I thought I wasn't gonna comment, but that wasn't. I agree with that comment. So, but what's your thoughts?
Um, for me, it's big picture of the team, right? And I just think that right now, um, with as much as I like Diawara, I think the team is on a trajectory to win a championship this season. This is not the Knicks from 5, 6 years ago. It's a bunch of young players. Let people get minutes. We got to grow as a team. No, with the with the starting lineup that this team has, this team can win a championship this season. So I'm thinking about this year. I'm not really thinking about next year and the year after too much. And I didn't say anything about it at all. But right now, I'm like, what can this team do to win a championship 2026? In the year 2026, a wing is absolutely needed right now. Somebody has to come in when Bridges is not playing well and be able to spell him and let him sit down. When OG's not
Same as
playing,
OG.
when OG's not playing well, or it needs a break, or we try to manage the minutes, we need somebody that can come in and be a reliable vet, just like how you have at guard. You've got Shamit, Goose, and Clarkson. You've got three dependable, reliable vets that have varying skill sets and ability, but they can do something for the team. Right now, there's no backup wing. You can't put Daddy A in the game. Diawara, you don't want to depend on him too much to win a championship this season. So right now, basically, you have no wing. All you got is Hart. Hart is coming in playing power forwards and rebounding and all of that. Not to mention he's starting. So now you got Mitch, and you have no other wing that's 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". You need a player like that. So it's not that Deuce is not valuable. You know what I mean, Tone? It's just that when you have no backup wing that's 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" off the bench, all you got is Mitch with Hart starting. Like we can't depend on Dadier and Diawara. This is a
Not
champ.
this year.
This is a championship season.
Not
We need
this year for sure.
we need somebody that's in the 6'7" to 6'9" body type that can get buckets, get some boards, that's smart, that's savvy, and can be and not be like, this is gonna be too much, the lights are too bright. You know what I'm saying? And it's no knock on Deuce, because Deuce is great. Like, this is not a trade Deuce because he's not good. This is more so all the reasons that you're saying why he's good are the reasons why he'll be a good trade asset to get a wing to be something that is, to me, the greatest need right now. And when you have Deuce, Shaman, and Clarkson, you have three guys that vary in skill set and ability, but they're not to say literally interchangeable, but I'm comfortable with any of the three of them playing in the backup shooting guard role. Now, one might score more, one might defend more, one might be better from the three, one might get better off the bounce. Yeah, but truth be told, I'll take any three of them if I had to. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like, if Deuce was injured for the season, would you say, oh, the Knicks aren't going to win a championship now because Deuce is out? You would be like, nah, we got Clausen, we got Shamit. They're going to step up.
But
And
I also would acknowledge a huge part of our defense is taking a hit. You know what I mean? Like, not for nothing. At the very least, Deuce. I'm comfortable with Deuce spelling um Mikhail at the very least, like because he's gonna keep that defensive intensity, and so that's why I think that what Wayne said, and the point guard shooting guard argument. I think that's true. I don't necessarily view Deuce as a point guard. I agree with you 100%. Um, I also feel more comfortable with him filling in that point guard in what I mean, not above Kolek per se, but what I mean, if he needed to because of what I mean, injuries, foul trouble, whatever the case, I'm more comfortable with that than having somebody try to fill in his void defensively. that isn't Mikal or OG. You know what I mean? Like I'm sorry, I think his defense is too valuable. Now, I agree we do need a wing. We could use another wing, but Deuce guards up. You know what I mean? Like he's not all world defender, but he's gonna give most people a tough night. And so I think I don't know, man. I
I don't
think
think the trade.
it
I don't think
depends
the
on
trade.
the trade. I'm not opposed to the trade. Like
Right.
I'm not opposed to trading him, but it depends on what we're getting back. I seen somebody spoke on Herb Jones. A- Again, I think that would be fitting. You know what I mean? Like
A
I
defender.
wouldn't be mad at that. You know what I mean? You get a little bit more size, you get some shooting ability. He also could guard. You know what I mean? Like you're not losing what you have in Deuce when you bring in the Herb Jones. Um, I also think I don't know about Dadier, but Diawara, I think he's coming. I think not this year. I don't think he'll have enough opportunity to kind of break through and be a mainstay in the rotation. But I think he's getting enough. Like he's the next guy on Mike Brown's list to kind of, you know what I mean, like step into roles, see what he got, put him in situations. You know what I mean? I think he's more comfortable with Diawara than Dadier right now. I think Diawara's size and you know what I mean, length and defensive potential at the very least is exactly the type of asset that you're saying we need to go out and get. Obviously, somebody more polished and more experienced, but I really like what he brings, and I think Mike Brown trusts him a little bit. You know what I mean, a little bit more than DOR right now. He's getting those little spot minutes throughout the game. So I interesting to see how much time he gets throughout the year and experience he gets throughout the year and how much it could build. But I don't expect him to kind of make his way into the playoff rotation. But long term, I like what we got in him. Um, and you know, if it's not this year, you know what I mean. Next year, I could see him taking a nice leap.
Not Diawara, definitely one of them guys that'll get some minutes in a playoff game. Like he won't be playing. He won't play. He won't play. He won't play. Then something to happen, and then he'll
Hmm.
play.
Hmm.
And that's what you hope that games like what the team is having right now gives him the experience and the comfortability that the stage won't be too bright when when those times come if they do. But because we know in the playoffs those the minutes shrink for bench players and the rotation shrinks. That's just what it is. But is always a guy in the playoff run for a team that gets to the finals or wins a chip. There's always a guy that you didn't expect that has a game, and that could be anybody.
Um, yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't again. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he'll come in
Right.
for a series or something. You know, God forbid. You know, unless something happens. But yeah, I could see him coming in and having an impact in the game. Um, and I see it defensively more than anything. But I do like the fact that um his handle doesn't seem shaky. You know what I mean? Maybe he doesn't play outside his realm, and maybe that's why. But his his handle has impressed me for the most part.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a strong suit of his long term.
I ain't gonna lie. There's a guy that was on my radar, and it was like he was on, was off, was on, was off, right? And I seen him last night banging on somebody ugly. Marvin Bagley.
Bagley.
Marvin Bagley. Like if you could, I mean, respectfully, I hate to just throw people around like they don't mean nothing, but like if you could trade Huck Porty for Bagley, you know what I mean? Because Bagley's not even getting $3 million a year, and he's on a 1 year deal. He
Bagley. Where's he at right now?
he's on Washington.
Oh wow, yeah.
2.3 million.
I don't
He's
know.
pretty,
You probably gonna take this as a knock, but I don't mean this as a knock because first I say like he reminds me of a taller Precious Achua, but I mean that in a compliment because part of Achua's downfall was I mean he was a little undersized, so I could see that working. I could see that working.
he hustles, he plays hard. Um, you
Not
know,
the best basketball IQ guy though.
not the greatest IQ guy, but if you're not demanding a lot from him, he's off the bench. He's playing, you know, he's playing alongside Mitch. He's playing backup when Mitch is out. You know what I mean?
He
He's
has
six,
an
he's
offensive skill
6'10".
set too. So
Yo, he has a little skill set. He has a little shot. You know what I mean? He shoots 65% from the line the last 10 games. This season, he's shooting 50% from three, 62 from the field. He's averaging 19 minutes a game, 10 points a game. Like, yo, if you could deal even Yabusele, you know what I mean? If you got to take somebody else in the trade to send them Yabusele and get somebody else on the cheap that they're happy to get rid of to make the numbers work. I mean, I'm just thinking the team's in need of a big. So if you could keep Deuce and get Bagley, I'm all for that. But it's not going to be too many bigs that are going to be out there that you could trust, play minutes, and be of value without having to give up something of value. But
what's Gafford making?
yeah, I don't think the Gafford deal is going to happen. We're gonna we're gonna do this. We're gonna get out of there. We're gonna tell you any second. Wow. Gafford's at 14.38
That's kind of
on,
huge.
and that's on a new deal.
Yeah,
So
nah, yeah.
the only, only way, only way Gafford
That
works
only
is
works for Mitch.
right.
That only
So,
works for Mitch. And speaking of which, last thing before we get out of here, right?
unless they really like Deuce, and then now it's Yabusele and Deuce and Daddy something like that for, and then you might have to throw something like maybe Huck Porty in there. There you go. Yep. So
You don't mind?
Not at all. Welcome back. We was kind of wrapping up, but I got a couple more
Okay.
things.
so I was just saying we don't have to trade Deuce so we can get somebody like Marvin Bagley on the cheap. He's only at 2.3 million. Power forward / center.
I,
Yeah.
as
Huh.
an addition, I don't mind it.
You keep Mitch. You keep all your key components. Everybody's in the rotation stays. You know, and Tony just threw out Gafford, but
Yeah,
that's
I'm backing. I'm backing off of that because
Gafford?
it would have to move Mitch.
no. Well, I mean, either a you have to include a third team potentially, or to make the numbers work, I got a successful trade with Yabusele, Deuce, Daddy, and Hugporty.
That's
That
a
trade.
lot for Gafford. But he's solid. He's solid.
He's extremely
and, and
solid.
and fresh off of he was part of that finals run, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And he's locked in on a 4-year deal. So the money you would need to re-sign Mitch, you know, respectfully, maybe you do a sign and trade with Mitch in the offseason. Or you bring him back.
Do we need
Because he's really more of a power forward than a
he,
center.
he I
But he's a
mean,
great
we would have a lot more opportunity to run double bigs because I do think what I mean he could probably play with Mitch, he could probably play with Cat. You know what I mean? So it kind of or even if he can't play with Mitch, you can still play Mitch with Cat. So we would have a lot more versatility to play double big. Um how important is the double big? I don't know.
It
I
is
think
against
we need
it
a.
is
I
against
need. I think we
OKC in the
need a
finals.
wing more than we need a center.
It is against OKC in
Yeah,
the finals. I tell you that.
we definitely need a wing more than a center, right? Because you also got what's his name, Trey, coming off the
Jameson,
bench, Jameson off the bench, who I think is serviceable, very serviceable.
a little undersized, but I agree. Mike Brown definitely likes him. You could
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah, long term he might be better than Hapoy.
Mm.
Um,
I mean, what about just continuing to work with the Awara?
that's what I kind of just alluded to. Um, how much experience can he get throughout this year, and does he get an opportunity to kind of impact in the playoffs? Shuttle said he could probably impact the game more than a series. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which I could very well see. Like a breakout performance. He doesn't seem rattled out there in the small roles that he's getting that slowly increased. You know what I mean? Like during the
Yeah.
stretch, OG missing time and things like that. He It's not like he's broken out, but he don't seem rattled. You know what I mean? Like he seems like he's playing within himself, and if if he has a good show and he does, you know what I mean, he might make some rookie mistakes here and there, but he doesn't seem as lost as I've seen Dadier look even this year at times. Given this is year two for him, and even Huck Porty at times. You know what I mean? Huck Porty's thing that I like is he's energy and effort 100% of the time. A lot of times that'll make up for some mistakes and some lapses. Diawara, I don't know if he has the aggression, but he's at a steady pace. You know what I mean? Like just playing within himself. I think he has potential ball handling um, benefits for us. Obviously, the size, the defense, but how much opportunity will he get this year to get that opportunity in the playoffs? What's your thoughts on that, son?
Um. Yeah. I think he's clearly taking Yabusele's. I think he's taking Yabusele's minutes right now. You know what I mean? I think he's taking his minutes. I mean, Yabusele wasn't giving you anything, so you might as well put a guy out there who's got some hopefully some long term legs with the team. You know, who can develop, who can grow, and probably give you the same production that Yabusele was giving you. In the meantime, you know what I'm saying. So I do think, and if he has more upside, then I think by playing him, you're at least giving him the chance to work himself into the rotation where he can give you some good minutes in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Because I do think his, the hustle, the length, you know what I mean, is exactly what the team needs. If I was the team, I would focus on his defense first, right? Just I know they're going to focus on his all around game. I'm not saying don't work on his shot and all of those
Mhm.
things, but maybe put more emphasis on making sure that he has the tools defensively, but he understands the angles and the rotations and those things. Because if he can play defense like that, he can get out there on the floor.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because he can defend. You know what I mean? And then the offense can come. And I think if we can get him to the point where he can really, he already has the tools, but where he can defend, good enough, he's a competent defender, then yeah, I think he can start to earn himself some serious minutes, during that time, and be able to spell OG a little bit, spell Mikal
How
Bridges a little bit.
how much of that would you throw him right in the fire? And when I say that, I mean, um, give him a tough defensive assignment. You know what I mean? Like go out there and test it. As
I
opposed to working on these things, bringing it along,
I
second
mean,
unit.
I mean, why not? You know what I'm saying?
because
Put
that's
him
how I
on
feel.
somebody. He doesn't have to be on that person full time. You know what I'm saying? He can, OG. Say OG is there. You bring him in for OG. Let him play that guy for a couple minutes to see what it looks like. Let him get a taste of it. This is how you're gonna get information on what he needs to work on anyway.
Mhm.
When playing those guys by letting them defend those guys. So.
Something
And you
too.
can see he's a young kid. Like last night, Josh Hart had to yell at him to get off the floor. You know what I'm saying? He's looking to the bench like,
Couple
"What y'all
times.
want me to do?" He's like, "Get
You
off the
not.
floor!"
He's
Like,
like,
you
you're
know what
not
I'm
the
saying? He's a
coach.
kid.
I'm trying to have the coach tell me, like, dude, we about to get attacked, bro.
Right.
Oh man. Now I like Diawara coming out. And coming out of the draft. I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna be basically a 6'9" version of Josh Hart. Something between Josh Hart and Siakam, somewhere in the middle of that. A hustle guy, a glue guy, a defensive guy, a coast to coast guy. Put him on your top scorers guy. You know, um, I think the sky's the limit for Diawara. I don't necessarily see All Star, but I mean, listen, if he were to reach an All Star game, I wouldn't be completely shocked either, though, because he looks like a guy that's very coachable and that works very hard. And you combine those two things with his body type, 6'9", long arms, fast, he can jump. He's got some pretty good instincts. And I think, like you said, Sim, the key word is he just got to get some data out there playing minutes. One thing I don't want to forget that I have seen the last couple of games is the zone. You guys peeping the zone out there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have
Yep.
y'all talked about that?
And Edwards
Yeah.
busted that joint last game, but yeah, it's definitely being implemented. It I mean, I'm not mad at it because I was gonna say it's being used a lot of times, to maybe stop the bleeding at times, but hey, we weren't used to seeing it at all, and a lot of times that's all we ask for. Try something, you know what I mean? Try something.
Well,
I don't think we've perfected it yet, though. You know what
but
I
in a
mean? Like
game
we've
like
seen it
last
work,
night,
we've seen it not work.
when you are really short-handed, that's when you need to use it. And listen, I know Bridges is a great defender, but when you got a guy like Edwards who's a tough guard, you know, keep him out the paint, slam dunking on you, making highlight plays, getting the crowd into the game. Don't get me wrong, a 3-point shot could be exciting too, but it ain't a slam dunk.
Yeah.
I felt like Bridges, he took the game, like he had competitive moments, especially early. You know what I mean? Like he had a couple of breakthrough dunks and stuff in the game as well. So it just, by the end of the game, Edwards showed who Edwards is. You know what I mean? Like it's a tough guard, tough matchup, but he did all right to me. Like I see a lot of people saying he was getting cooked. You know what I mean? But Edwards been on a tear, right? And it's not like we don't know who he is. I think he did an admirable job. My last thing I want to talk
I,
about.
I think. Well,
Okay,
just on that real quick. I think the thing with Bridges for me, he's a good defender. He uses his arm length to his advantage, right? But when guys decide to get in his chest and get physical, I don't think he can defend that good.
that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? And guys like Edwards is, kind of
Strong.
physical, strong and physical that way. So, when he's playing against guys like that, that's gonna bang him in the chest, I don't think he's a good defender that way. When they attack his length, when they like really attack him, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how many times we've seen, when they attack him and he's kind of behind the guy, but he's got his arms there. You know what I'm saying? Trying to steal it or poke it away or whatever it is. I don't think he's good with aggressive players,
What-
guys that can aggressively attack him. I don't think he has the strength against those guys.
I think you're 100% right with that. What I will give him credit for in those same exact scenarios or situations, like he is a guy that will come up with that one stop. You know what I mean? That one play against that same type of aggression. You know what I mean? Same like so he can't consistently stop that. You know what I mean? And it comes a point where it does hurt him. But we've seen it. You know what I mean? Like he'll come up with that big stop, whether it's against a Anthony Edwards or like you know what I mean. He'll come up with that big block, that big steal, that big one play where it might be a game-winning play or
And for all the frustration you got with him, you'd be like, all right, you good.
Right.
But I'm definitely borderline frustrated because it's one thing like Hart, 6 turnovers, right? We talked about earlier when you left Sim. Hart, 6 turnovers, but he's trying so hard that I don't want to say 6 turnovers is okay, but he's trying so hard
the effort turnovers.
that every turnover. So I don't want to say it's good, but damn, it's like I can only be so upset at his type of turnovers when he's making them, right? Because he's doing so much. And with Bridges, I'm just like, yo, I just feel like when they say like, yo, like you left something on the table, you could put more out there. And when I watch Bridges, I just feel like, yo, maybe he makes it just look easy and it's harder than it looks. But I'm just like, yo, damn, man, like if you like had a different aggression level that you would be in a different conversation when it comes to players in the league.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, and this is not a knock on Bridges, but I'm just remembering back in the draft. This is why I was higher on Miles than McCall. You know, I remember that was a big argument during that draft. Like, oh, which Bridges should the Knicks get? We ain't grabbed either one of them, but
Heaven.
Oh yeah.
oh, but my last point, I'm gonna start with Shuttle just because. Oh, I feel like as far as the whole MBK fam, I'm probably one of the biggest Mitch supporters, and arguably you might be one of the biggest Mitch
Anti-supporters?
anti-supporters. um, but let's acknowledge the free throw. You know what I mean?
10 in a row? 10 in a
Word.
row.
What I
Yo,
want to
Mitch.
ask
How
is
is that? Go ahead,
Hold on.
Mitch.
Yo, Mitch.
how
Hold
again,
on.
we're not
From DJ
expecting
Shuttle.
90%, right?
From
We're
DJ
not
Shuttle to
expecting that.
Mitch from DJ Shuttle. I'm just gonna say, listen, you hit 10 in a row, my boy. Listen, we can't ask for no more than that. You hit 10 in a row. Keep doing whatever you're doing. Eat whatever you've been eating. Just get the sleep you've been sleeping. Play the games you've been gaming. Do whatever you've been doing during this streak of these 10. And let's continue to see that percentage soar up to 50, then maybe 60. And you do that, baby boy. Listen, all we can do is say, what we gonna do without Mitch? We can't do it without him. Let's go.
Okay. You answer my question. How much of a game changer that does it become? How much does it change your perspective on his value, even though he still has other offensive limitations? If he obviously he can get to the line. You know what I mean? He's done that throughout his career. If he can make 65%, you know what I mean? Let's keep it at a
He can make 55%. One thing we know, if you've played the game, and they say it all the time, if you're struggling making shots on the field, just be aggressive, try to get to the hoop, get a foul, get to the foul line, make some foul shots. Once you see the ball going through the rim, going through the hoop, it's going to make you feel more confident to do other things on the court. So, Mitch, I see you getting these offensive boards, baby boy. Like, listen, I understand you got Clarkson and Deuce and Brunson out there, but turn around sometimes, bang it on somebody. Like we're not waiting to have a play call for you. We want you to get that rebound and send it
that's
in.
I agree with that part. You start making your free throws, you'll be more inclined to go ahead and go up strong, as opposed to let me get it out my head to the open shooter real quick. Which which has been a benefit for us. You know what I mean? A big benefit for us. I think I think our points off of offensive rebounds. Well, obviously our offensive rebounds are high, but our points off of offensive rebounds, like per offensive rebound, is like tops in the league as well. Like it's almost it's almost a point or just over a point per offensive rebound that we're scoring. So you know what I mean, that and that's huge. That's based off of him. But Sim, how much of a game changer does it become if Mitchell Robinson is shooting at a decent clip
I
from the
mean,
free
I
throw
think
line?
it's definitely a big game changer because his ability to offensive rebound, you know, protect the rim, means everything. Especially when Karl Anthony Towns continues to get little fouls that might you know mean that he can't play until 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter or something like that. You're gonna you'll need Mitch out there. So I think it's huge because now teams can't play the little hack a Mitch game. You know what I mean? So that he doesn't. Because when he's on it rebounding, man, like he's the best rebounder on the floor every time. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, I think it definitely changes the game for him. Now he can get 26, 27 minutes a game. You can start to get him into the offense a little bit more because he can have more time on the floor. So I
And we
think it's
talk about. I'm sorry, Sim, but we talk about people not finding him and not necessarily utilizing him as much as we should or could, even in the lob situation. And as much as I never even really thought about why they may be hesitant to go ahead and throw him the ball or try that lob pass, because if it's not a automatic basket, you know what I mean, it may put him at the line. It may be end up being to the detriment as opposed, you know what I mean, like so the teammates may be looking to find him a lot more if he's hitting free throws.
right, right. So yeah,
Let's
I
go,
mean,
Mitch. Let's go, Mitch.
you're saying it
Let's go.
definitely adds something to the team. Adds a lot to the team.
Nah, Mitch has absolutely been balling out. I mean, if we could just need to require taking less games off, you know, I'd be probably a little bit more excited.
Well,
As
this
I
this
as I always said, for the record, I never said Mitch needs to score a lot. I just said if you're gonna not score as infrequently as he does, you need to get more rebounds and you need to get more block shots. That's what I always said. Now his rebounding ratio is at an all-time high right now. This is the type of rebounding ratio I was talking about a year, 2, 3 years in the past when I'm like, listen, if you're going to score 6.7 points a game and you're starting, then you have to get 11, 12 rebounds a game and you got to get 2 blocks.
Right.
So, I never pressed the scoring. I never ever pressed the scoring with Mitch, but now the rebounding is like he's literally now it's like I look at him, it's like, okay, Mitch is a grown man out there now. He's not a young guy learning the game. And he's putting his physicality on players and his strength now. Now he's the strong guy out there. And he's falling down less. These are all little things that are contributing to me. I think he's having arguably his best season.
to your point about him, potentially missing less games and less restrictions. This is the stretch that I'm looking at right now, where it's every other day. No back to backs, but every other day. And so far he hasn't. I don't think he's missed. You know what I mean? Missed a game since
Since the
he,
cup. He
since it
missed the
started
first
being
game
every
after
other game,
he
every
missed
other
the
day.
first game after the cup though.
Huh?
He
First
missed
one after the cup.
yeah.
But that was a back to back. The next game was the next day. So
Right.
and then since then, every game is every other day. No backs to backs until after the 11th, I think. So this stretch right here is where I'm looking to see how the Knicks play it out. You know what I mean? Does he miss any games, or does he keep playing these games, which would be a great sign if he could play all these games, one day off, game, one day off, game, one day game, no back to backs to kind of sit him. I think this is a good stretch for him to kind of find his rhythm. You know what I mean? Find his role, maximize some things. I said that when the stretch started, and so far he's been playing. So I hope that continues, and I think if it does, we should be in on, to your point, down the line, maybe some things changing as far as the back to backs or the load management with him.
So I know you said that was the last thing, but Tone, we got the Cavs tomorrow, Christmas Day game.
Oh yeah,
Gotta
it's on my
love it.
list.
So, what you guys thinking about? The Cavs are a little, disappointing this year compared to what they were last year. To
They
me,
on a stretch now though, right?
yeah, I mean, right
I think they
now,
they kind of righting the ship a little as of
yeah,
late.
or they've won two in a row. They're 5-5 in the last 10 games.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well, they,
guess
they was on a real bad stretch
What,
like a week ago. So, two in a row coming into Christmas Day. Obviously, they're gonna get up for this game. The projected, powerhouses of the projected lone powerhouses of the East. You know what I mean? Like, my question would be: is this game more of a statement for them or more of a statement for us?
be more
For
of a
me,
statement for them.
you say them.
I think it'd be more of a statement for them, based on how the season's going so far.
I think the opposite, only because of where we were last year, right? And how we couldn't beat the top teams, right? And how I think you can make an argument that we haven't really faced the top teams so far this year. I mean, the Spurs have been on a climb since we beat them in the cup, but and they moved up to second place, but they, what I mean, that's not where they
Yeah.
potentially were when we
I think-
faced them.
right,
So
but I
so
think
this,
because we beat them already in the season,
well,
we beat
that's
them
fair.
the first game of the season. I think, and then we've gone in different directions, right? We've gone up, they've gone down. I think it's probably more of a statement for them to saying we're still here, we're still one of the top teams in the East.
Do you think that makes them more dangerous then?
Could it could definitely make them more dangerous in tomorrow's game. Yeah,
See, my mindset is I hope the Knicks are looking at it like we still remember last year. You know what I
right,
mean? And we're trying to make the statement that potentially you guys were trying to make last year, and the rest of the top teams in the league. So we're trying. And the way I'm looking at it, I'm trying to continue to change that narrative.
right.
You know what I mean? And coming off a loss where we sat some guys. You know what I mean? I just think this game is more fun. I get what you're saying. Like they're probably looking at it like it means more for them. I'm
Uh-huh.
saying like from the outside looking in, the cat. I guess the Cavs beat us. They're gonna say, all right, they really are, fixing the ship.
Right.
it's one of those things where you know if I shoot you, you famous. You know what I mean? Like, what are they next to do? You know what I mean? It's almost like if you beat them, so what? Like they having a bad season, you're supposed to beat them. You beat them last year, whatever, or you beat them the year before in the playoffs. So it's kind of like, all right, we got the Cavs number. Is how the mind state could be to some people. If you lose to them, they having a bad season. They ain't gonna be nobody anyway. So, but the Cavs, like considering how weak their season has been, they can look at this as a game where it propels them
Right.
to, all right, yo, we beat the Knicks. Yeah, the Knicks is number 2 seed. They looking real good. We beat the Knicks, man. Like, yo, that's three in a row. Now instead of being where was I at? where was I here? Instead of being how many games behind would they be? Instead of being 4 games behind, now they 3 games behind in the second seed. So, they start having that kind of conversation. To me, it means more for the Cavs than this could ever mean for the Knicks this year. But the Knicks need to beat the Cavs.
Yeah,
That's it. That's what I want. That part.
we need to win. And
That part.
that's that.
Oh, we've only had
Because to
we've
your
only
point,
had a 2 game losing streak, right? We haven't had a 3 game losing streak, right?
to your point, right? Like Detroit's been by far the number one team in the East. You haven't played Detroit yet. Orlando's been tough. You split with Orlando.
Split
Um,
with the Heat,
you split with the Heat.
who have been above expectations this year.
Lost to OKC, right?
Yeah,
And Nuggets.
I don't think we played them yet.
Yeah, so you know, this year there isn't really a quote unquote. It's not a top heavy. It's not a top heavy year where you got 3 or 4 teams. Well, that's not true. You got OKC who's light years ahead, and you got Detroit. But
Like years.
OKC is really the only team that you look at that's like above the league. Everybody else is kind of tier two. Detroit's tier two, Knicks are tier two, Spurs tier two, Nuggets tier two. You got a bunch of teams that are right in there, in
Right.
that space. And OKC's kind of the little head and shoulders above the rest of the group so far. But
And they just got their guys back too, right? Garland's back and Hunter's back, right?
something like that.
I know Hunter's back for sure. I thought I read something where it said Garland was finding his groove.
Yeah, so Cleveland plays the Knicks tough, and but it's Christmas Day, man. You got to win this one for New York City. Hello,
Word up. And you in New York? Come on.
and
For sure.
at home, you got to win. You got to win the Christmas Day game. You got to win the MLK Day game if you got a good team in New York. You got to win those 2 games.
Right.
Oh, somebody said the Cavs got everybody back except Mobley. I didn't know Mobley was out. I didn't know they had all types of injuries.
Yeah, Max Struss is out. Mobley's out with a calf injury. Lonzo Ball is day to day. Larry Nance Jr. is out.
Um,
Shaman is out, and Deuce they're saying day to day, OG day to day. So they very likely are going to play.
last thing before we get out of here, shout out to the chat. Akuma says after this Christmas game, trades will be made all around the league. Um,
This is Leon's time. This is Leon's. This is Rose time. This is when Rose starts cooking.
here's my question. I know your answer, but um, 2 parts. Should the Knicks make a trade, and do the Knicks make a trade? Shutter, what you think?
I think it's going to be hard to make a deal that this regime feels like is going to help this team this year win a chip and getting it done. I think the team is more likely to wait to later in the season when buyouts happen and maybe get somebody that way. I would love to see the team be able to acquire a wing / a big in that order. Um, and I'm open for players being moved to make it happen.
So you saying they should, but you don't think they will?
That's what I'm saying.
Sim?
I kind of agree with Shuttle. I think it's hard for them, to make a serious move that impacts the team right now, without really disrupting. If they make a move, I think it's going to be along the edges. Something that's kind of small. I don't know if they make anything that's really significant. and then wait to the off season to try to make that move if it's there.
Um, I agree. I think they will make a trade, but I agree with you. I think it is going to be something small. I think it's I think it's yabba dabba done. Yabba Sully out of here.
You know what I'm
I think
saying?
think he's gone. Um, for even if it's like you said, second round picks. You know what I mean? The Knicks do tend to, you know what I mean, when guys are unhappy, they move on from him. And there's already been reports that he's unhappy with his role. Obviously he fell out the rotation. Um, I don't really see a instance in where he becomes a necessity to kind of find his way back. You know what I mean? I think Huck Porty's above him. I think Diawara is above him. I think extended minutes for guys that we don't want to play extended minutes is an option above him at this point right now. So I think Yabusele is gone. Um, and then it's about what can you really get for him, whether it's attaching picks and kind of getting something that helps us and maybe moves the needle, or not attaching picks and just getting him somewhere where he may be able to get some opportunity to play. Shut.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to the chat, man. Yo, Blackest Time. We are. I mean, we back. We're gonna be consistent. Sim, I don't know if you're gonna have time for a pregame, but you doing a post game?
I don't even know because I think I'm traveling. I might be traveling
Moving around.
to something. I don't know.
Well, let me know what's going on. If I got some time, I'll jump on again
If I
tomorrow.
do, it might be like mad late, like
Late.
11:30, 12 o'clock.
Well,
Maybe.
again, let me know. If I don't speak to you soon, enjoy your Christmas.
Yeah.
Your family. I know this is a big one. This the first Christmas, right? So,
Yeah.
definitely,
Well, yeah, I guess for the
definitely
most
first Christmas engaged. So
yeah.
enjoy that. You know what I mean? Enjoy the family. Give my love. Shuttle the same, man. Enjoy your Christmas. I don't know if you getting some Christmas money or it's all family business.
Nah, no holiday money. No holiday money this weekend. It's low key this weekend. Until the phone rings though.
Hey,
It's only a phone call away.
that's a
Brrrr.
that's a fact. He called. He
Or,
called out. He couldn't make it. You know what I mean? I know something's popping off, but
Believe that.
like I said, man, enjoy the holidays. Enjoy the time with your family. Same with everybody in the chat. I am Gerard. I see you. Wayne Patterson. I see you. Who else
New
we got
York
in here?
City, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, Long Island. DJ Shuttle birthday party and watch party, January 7th.
January 7th.
At DJ Shuttle NYC. It's posted up for all the details. Ben's Crab Valley Stream, DJ Shuttle, Hollywood Chuck, New York Knicks versus the Clippers. Should be a beatdown. So come celebrate. Come celebrate with the watch party with the kid. You heard?
Hey,
so,
I'm gonna do my best. It's you know how work be, but if I can make it out there, I definitely make it out there. But I'm gonna spread the word.
Hey, now we get you on the FaceTime. You know what I mean? Pop it on
Yeah,
the FaceTime for a hot minute.
facts, facts. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Send shuttle. Until next time, your blackest time, and we out of here.
peace.